I shall now make a statement in my capacity as Minister of Human Services and Social Security of Guyana. I thank Special Representative of the Secretary-General for Children in Armed Conflict, Virginia Gamba, and UNICEF Director of Child Protection, Shima Sengupta, for their briefings. To our child briefer, Sila, I convey Guyana's sincere appreciation to you for sharing your story of resilience with the Security Council. The hopes you shared for a better and safer future represent the aspirations of the almost 500 million children worldwide who are living in conflict. Children whose lives are being shattered daily by violence. Children for whom fear has become a constant companion. Fear of death, injury, abduction, sexual violation, starvation, and separation from loved ones. The places that should offer children the greatest protection, their homes, their schools, and even hospitals, are being attacked and destroyed with little regard for protection obligations under international humanitarian law. Denial of humanitarian aid is depriving children not only of life-saving sustenance and health care, but of their dignity as they jostle for morsels of food under dangerous conditions. Excellencies, the 25% increase in grave violations against children recorded in the Secretary General's report for 2024 must galvanize this Council for the protection of children. It is my fervent hope that today's debate will be an opportunity to not just express outrage, but to follow through with tangible action. I reaffirm Guyana's unwavering commitment to the Convention on the Rights of the Child and its optional protocol on the involvement of children in armed conflict, as well as the relevant Security Council resolutions. We regret that even though the Convention on the Rights of the Child is the most widely ratified human rights treaty, there is persistent disregard for child's rights, including their rights to life, dignity, education, and health. In several conflicts, government forces were the main perpetrators of the killing and maiming of children, attacks on schools and hospitals, and the denial of humanitarian access. The umbrella that international law should provide to children is being dismantled daily. Guyana calls on all parties to conflict to comply with international law, including international humanitarian law and human rights law, and to immediately end and prevent violation and abuses against children. Inaction by the international community and impunity for perpetrators are emboldening greater violations. We must be consistent in condemning all violations and abuses of children. National and international justice systems must scale up investigations and prosecutions. Excellencies, the violation verified in the greatest numbers was the killing and maiming of children, primarily by explosive ordnance, by crossfire between parties to conflict, and by use of explosive weapons in populated areas. For the second consecutive year, the highest numbers of grave violations were verified in the occupied Palestinian territory, particularly the Gaza Strip. Contact with unexploded ordnance and mines was the leading cause of child casualties in Afghanistan, Myanmar, and the Syrian Arab Republic, and thousands became permanently disabled. Some 5 million children in Syria live in areas contaminated with the lethal explosives, creating immense risks with every step they take. Guyana urges member states to ratify and implement the Mine Ban Treaty as a tangible commitment to protect children. With 165 parties already, This debate must be a catalyst for universal ratification. Donors are encouraged to scale up funding for clearing of explosive ordnance, risk education, and victim assistance. Excellencies, it is abhorrent that sexual violence is being used as a tactic of war. The alarming 35% increase in verified cases of rape and other forms of sexual violence against children in 2024, including the sharp increase in gang rape, should spur us all to action. Holding perpetrators accountable is key to stemming this deplorable trend. Listing of perpetrators in the annex of the Secretary General's annual report on children and armed conflict, Security Council sanctions, and scaling up prosecution can contribute to reducing this scourge. The Security Council must use all the tools at its disposal for the protection of children and to dissuade continued violations. This includes prioritizing child protection in mandate renewals of UN peacekeeping operations and special political missions, and supporting continuity of child protection programs by UN county teams and national authorities. As we engage in the UN 80 initiative towards a more efficient organization, we must ensure that mandate and funding cuts are not at the expense of the protection of children. The Children and Armed Conflict Framework, including the monitoring and reporting mechanisms, remains critical in informing Council responses and engagements with parties to conflict to address grave violations against children. Finally, I emphasize children do not start wars, and they should never be made to suffer their horrific consequences. Ultimately, their best protection is peace. I thank you.